um, what I want to do in the next half an hour is talk a bit about what we see as trends or things that we see happening, not just in the Benelux area, but also from a European perspective. You could almost say from a global perspective, as we happen to have the dialogue with Microsoft and with partners around the globe. What I think is a starting point to notice is the fact that the cloud transition has not only started, but you could almost say is almost coming to the full swing now. We have in a latest study that was done for small and medium business, there were 80% of small and medium business who were basically saying that they do embrace the cloud actively, with only 8% expressing no interest. Now, this figure would have looked completely different only 5-6 years back. Back at that time, it was between, depending on which country we're in, 40-50% of small and medium business who would say that they really actively embrace the cloud. So in a sense, the train, so to speak, has left the station, and not just for the usual workloads that you would connect to the cloud, like Office 365 and the collaboration and data backups and stuff like that. But also, if we look into our main course, which is the business application space, we do see that the majority of all new installations are now going to the cloud. There's only a small portion left that, in terms of new installations, that really go in an on-prem implementation. What's also interesting to see is if we look at the momentum that we have with the cloud. I took, two examples, you could say, to illustrate the point. One is we look at Business Central and the new installations, and we look at two cloud deployment options. So one is to deploy Business Central in a hosted environment, which we already also offer through One Click Factory. And the other one is Business Central SaaS, so basically hosted as a software as a service implementation. And in the beginning, there was a bit of a perception that, Business Central SaaS is really just for smaller installations, because at the end of the day, there are the performance of Business Central SaaS is not where it should be, and there are certain technical limitations. But we do see that this perception is now gone. As you see here in the left-hand side, this is the average deal size across all QBS installations that we have, and we are now last month already, or almost up to 10 users per installation in average, which is getting closer and closer to our overall average that we have when it comes to Business Central. So certainly there is enough momentum for Business Central SaaS. If I look at the last quarter, our largest installation for Business Central SaaS was a customer in Norway with 180 seats. So really large installations. Actually, one of our Spanish partners, a company called Netzer Consulting, they have signed a deal for Business Central SaaS for 400 users. So really the Business Central SaaS deployment is at par with all the other installation options or the on-prem and hosted options that you have. So we do see that momentum. We also see that there is momentum for the other workloads. In March alone, we had 100 partners in our QBS community that transacted Dynamics 365 sales. So no longer do we only or mainly do the ERP side. A lot of our partners are actually now doing both workloads, and they do add Power App as a third platform or as a sort of a migration and integration platform to it. In March alone, we transacted more than 7,000 seats or users for Dynamics 365 sales. You can see also on the CRM side, there is a lot of momentum. And below, you see our standard migration offerings or assessments that we do through One-Click Factory that we deliver per quarter. So that is from more the enterprise side, where you have AEX installations that you move to finance and operations on Dynamics 365 sales. And as you can see, if you look at quarter or year over year, we are now seeing a spike in those standard assessments as well. So the momentum is really there. So there is, on the one hand side, as I said, we see the momentum is there. The train has left the station. There is no question any longer about whether or not SMBs are going to the cloud. But we do see a change or an evolution as well in how partners position themselves towards customers. If you will, you can say that's the valuation that partners bring to customers. And there we do see an evolution. I would argue that probably 10, 15 years back, most of the business application partners were positioning themselves as consultants around business processes. I think, part of the success that many of you joined and that this community joined in the past was already based on the fact that you were not selling a product, right? You were selling a solution and you were consulting your customers not around IT, but around the business process and how you help them to streamline business processes with the use of ERP and CRM solutions. Then I would say probably as we started to get into the cloud, and I would say with a strong momentum, probably 6 years back, was to elevate the valuation towards customers to no longer just talk about business processes, but talk about the digitalization that you bring to customers. And, the success that we joined as a community, in my view, came from the fact that we were consulting customers not just around, accounting or not just around, okay, how do I build a CRM solution or a pipeline, but to really take a broad view and discuss with the customer, how do you digitalize your company? Right, including all the processes, including supply chains, taking a look at a holistic customer lifecycle. So I think that was for at least the last 6-7 years part of the success, how we could elevate the value towards SMB customers, talking about the digitalization of companies and the business. What we do see now is another shift. And I think the shift, in my view, is all around data. Because now that not only in enterprise, but also in small and medium businesses, companies realize, well, there is so much data And the data becomes sort of the critical path to decide whether or not you are successful in your environment. Our customers start to become very sensitive about what to do and how to use data. And so I would argue that the next elevation of the value that this partner community brings to SMB customer is to consult the customers on all the aspects of data. Now, that not only includes, okay, how do you migrate data from a legacy platform into the cloud? It does not only include discussions around, okay, how do I transfer data and how do I share data? But it has all the aspects of governance. So who is going to use what kind of data with what authority? How do you get compliant on things like GDPR, but also compliant in a sense of security? How do you make sure that the data is not being leaked and is not being used in improper ways? How do you make sure that you secure your data? Every aspect around business intelligence and how you use your data to go and do the right decisions, and how do you spread decision making across the company. All these aspects, including then of course artificial intelligence, is what customers are now valuing when it comes to a conversation with a partner. And so I think probably if you look at that process, my advice and also my observation is that more and more of our partners are starting to become very invested into the consultancy of data. Now, in order to do that, I think many of our partners are facing a dilemma, and in a sense, you could say it is almost the same dilemma, or continues to be the dilemma that we had for probably the last 10, 15 years, which is, how do we create more capacity and how do we gain more capabilities? Because resources, that is what we see as a constraint. So we don't have enough people to really serve all of our customers and to do all the projects in time. And at the same time, how do we make sure that our people that are busy doing these implementations and that are busy supporting our customers, how do we make sure that they take the next leap into the next generation of consultancy around data with concepts like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and other trends that we see in the marketplace. Now, I would argue that probably last year in 2020, when the first wave of the pandemic hit our market, it looked a bit as if there might be some slowdown, and therefore capacity looked as if it's no longer that big of an issue. But from what I hear from you and from partners around our network is, well, this is no longer capacity is and remains a serious issue. And despite trying to create and help to create a new talent, which I think is something that we all as a community will do anyhow, and that we certainly invest in, I think in a more pragmatic way, there are three things you can do to overcome that dilemma. I think the first one is to outsource. So many of you probably are looking at all the processes and all the workloads that you have, and you could wonder, is everything really adding value and adding, or is it the core competence that you have and that you want to do? And I think, if it's not, then I think there is an argument to basically outsource these processes, not only because you can gain capacity and you free up time with your people, but also because you can streamline and you can accelerate your time to market. And we have an offer for you there, as you know, with One Click Factory, where you can outsource processes like migration, which are very time consuming, which in itself might not be a workload that you can add a lot of value by doing it yourself. There you can outsource to One Click Factory, not only because you gain those capacities, but also capabilities that you might not have. Because One Click Factory can guarantee to you that they deliver in time, in quality, and on a committed price. You know, three aspects that many of you who have done these type projects know are sometimes hard to meet. So that's one way to add capacity. And I think, you know, over the course of the QB shares, I know that with Ronald and William, we will discuss the aspects of how we can help to migrate. Now, the second way to gain capacity is to standardize. And I know, I mean, most of you, if not all of you, already took advantage of packaging and reusing the IP, the intellectual property that you put into the solutions for Business Central or for CRM, for that matter. So you basically just package it so that you can reuse it and standardize it. But I think over time, we also see that standardization goes into more and more aspects of the service that you provide to your customers. It starts with the implementations. A lot of things can be standardized. The support that you give to your customers, that can be standardized. And we are trying to help you there as well. We have trainings, and I just mentioned our training that we have with Live in a Day, where we basically use templates to have a fast implementation of Business Central. We are doing all the trainings that you need around the low-code, no-code platform that Microsoft provides with Power Platform, which is another way to basically standardize, especially if you think about those concepts of proof of concept or migration scenarios, where you can use the Power Platform as a fast way to market, and you standardize through that. But I also think it's important to mention our ISVs, because in the end, also the ISVs are helping you to standardize, because you take a proven solution and you add capabilities to your solution, not delivering or developing it themselves, but you take that from our ISVs. And as you will see later on, not only do these ISVs have great solutions, we also integrate now these ISVs into our marketplace, so that you can basically make the configuration of a customer deal through our marketplace, including the Microsoft solution and the ISV solution, and therefore reduce the time to market as well. So standardization, I think, is a great way to add capacity. And then last but not least, I would say, in order to get more capabilities, you can use the network of partners that you find within the QBS community. Because it's quite interesting, you know, not only, as I think Bert also mentioned, not only because we have partners with complete different backgrounds from the industry that they work for, but also the sort of platforms and workloads that they serve. So of course, we do have partners that have a strong Business Central background, but we also have partners that have a very strong background in Dynamics 365 sales or customer engagement, customer insight, field service, those type concepts. We also have partners that are coming more from a modern workplace perspective. We have partners that have a strong background in Azure and in the data infrastructure. So using this network of trusted partners will, you know, obviously help you to add capabilities to your business without the need of having to do all these investments in resources yourself. So again, these to me are the three best ways for you to overcome the capacity and the capability dilemma. And as QBS, we're trying to give you access to the outsourcing, to the standardization, and to the network. Now, we asked ourselves, great if we can offer these type services and that offering to you, but to be honest, we went into a phase where we asked ourselves, is it simple enough for our partners to really access all of these services? And I think, maybe you find it yourself, if you happen to live within, your company with your offerings, of course, you would ask, or you would tell yourself, hey, it's simple enough. People can get an easy access, and it's not complicated. But the reality is, if you look at it from the outside, things might look a bit more difficult. And so we really asked ourselves, how can we become more simple? And what we tried to do is now streamline our membership options that we have for you, and the way that we present our services, and that we help you to consume the services that we want to provide to you. So that is why we have, as you probably have heard through the communication that we have done lately, we are changing our memberships into 3 standard levels of engagement. So on the one hand side, you have what we call the foundation. That is mainly for partners that think that they rather want to self-serve themselves, who think that they are self-sufficient. So they are getting most of the digital access to our services and in a more reactive mode. Then you have the advanced membership. Now, the advanced membership, there you get access to our people. On the one hand side, to our partner care organization to expose your questions that you might have, but also to get access to our partner success managers. So those people that can help you to build a proper business plan, and that can also help you to accelerate your business. And then we have the premium membership. And that is really for those of you who want a very close relationship to QBS, who want to have a more dedicated access to our partner care organization and to our operations managers to help them out in situations that might occur, but also to then have a more close dialogue around business plans and do a regular review of business plans and share of ideas with our senior people in the QBS organization. So these are the 3 levels of engagement, where you have fixed services, and then you have flexible services that you can consume based on the needs that you have. So on each level, you will have a certain fund that you can then use to basically drive individual services that you need. Our goal, as it has always been, is with these memberships to make you the best supported, best informed, and best equipped partners in the market. So on the one hand side, and that's true for all of our partners in the membership, you get the support through our partner care organization. We inform you through our newsletters, through our website, through our partner portal, and through events like QB Shares, and hopefully moving forward, in-person events and special events that we do around the gatherings that we have as a community, like Directions or like the Microsoft conferences that we do. And of course, you access our order and supply tooling, our platforms, where you can, through our marketplace, basically make the configuration of your deals and access the licensing that you need. Then again, you have those service funds where we help you to then go through individual offerings that we place. Now, what's important to notice, and that's, I think, what makes the offering more simplified, is these 3 levels are true for all of our partners, regardless if you come from a more CRM type background, if you come from a ERP type background, if you happen to be a partner that comes from a modern workplace background and that wants to tap into the world of business applications. No matter where you come from, these 3 levels will guide you and give you access to our services. So what we do is we have services funds that are structured or grouped in 3 main buckets. So on the one hand side, we have our readiness bucket, where we have all the trainings that you can access through the QBS Academy. And we have our ready to start programs that basically help you to gain a practice. So if you happen to be an ERP or Business Central partner and you want to gain or want to start a practice around Dynamics 365 sales, we can help you do that. Or if you want to get access to start a practice around the Power Platform, we give you access to do that. Then we have a bucket of services around business acceleration. So that is our lead referral program called Take the Lead, where we help you to get new customers in. And we do business strategy workshops. I know some of you already did that, which are 2 days of workshops where we really help you to put together and to articulate a business strategy for the next 2 or 3 years that you can work on and that we follow together. Then we have the technical enablement. Now here we have all the upgrade and hosting services and development services that we have from One Click Factory. But we also then help you with our partner technology strategists, which are technical people that can help you or guide you through platform discussions, regardless if that happens to be Azure, Power Platform, Business Central, or Dynamics 365 Sales or the XRM platform. So basically you have your membership, and with the service funds, we give you a, let's say, sort of a free ride, if you like. So you have a monetary value that you can use on every membership to basically access these services that you see on the right-hand side. So with that, we hope we really simplified our membership structure and the way that you can access our services. What we do know and what we do appreciate is the fact that we're not alone. We do understand and we observe that, of course, there are choices that you as partner can do when it comes to the cloud solution provider program from Microsoft, when it comes to trainings, when it comes to technical or engineering services. So where we do want to stand out and where we think we can differentiate ourselves is on the one hand side through the people. I think as QBS, we have a great community of partners like yourself. And I think, that differentiates us in the sense that, all of our partners, one way or the other, are focused on business applications. So as I said early on, you will find complementary capabilities within this community. We are putting an emphasis with our people, even though we are now, as QBS Group, almost at 1,000 partners that we serve. We still know you and know who you are, and at the same time, you know our people. So there is direct access, and we take pride in having a personal relationship with you, and we try to serve that moving forward. And as Bert already said, at least what I did understand, we continue to be the power platform and dynamic fanatics in your region. This is where we put our emphasis on, and this is where the passion of our people goes into. On the other hand side, we want to provide you the best tools to streamline your operations. So our marketplace being one example, but also our partner portal and the other portals or platforms that we offer to you to put together your deals and the licensing. And of course, our training platforms, our QBS Academy, where you find all the trainings that you and your people need. And I think given that we are focusing on this platform now since our beginning, we have a lot of expertise. In fact, most of our people, if not all our people, have a business application background. So we really benefit from the fact that we have hundreds of years of knowledge in our company to serve you on the business application side. Now, of course, also for us as QBS, our horizon and the platform that we have to serve is getting larger and larger. It's interesting, when the company was founded back in 2012, 2013, the main emphasis was really on Microsoft NAV. That was the starting point. But pretty soon, as QBS, we realized, okay, the world is broader than, Microsoft NAV. So we started to invest in CRM Online, and in Office 365. And if you look at and if you listen to Microsoft these days, Microsoft Dynamics 365 is no longer seen as a sort of isolated or very distinct cloud in itself. It is integrated on the data side with Azure, of course. It is connected with Office 365, and there is a big emphasis from Microsoft to connect all the data that you have in Dynamics 365 with Teams, so that you can access and that you can drive the data and the analytics with Teams moving forward. And as a sort of a foundation to combine all the different platforms, not only do you have the Dataverse platform, but you also use the Power Platform to integrate, to migrate, and to utilize the data and get to the business intelligence and into the artificial intelligence that Microsoft has to offer through the Power Platform. So this is also an environment where we as QBS will invest, and where we have a lot of knowledge right now through the combination of our colleagues from One Click Factory, as well as from Minds United that we can serve to you. So in closing, we will remain as QBS with our strategic alliance to Microsoft. So we are, if you like, a Microsoft exclusive club. So we have no intention to go away from the Microsoft platform, because we are convinced that this is the right choice and the right bet, not only for us, but more importantly for our partners as well in the SMB market. We're using One Click Factory, that, as you know, is part of our family in the IT channel company, to serve you with the technical services and with upgrades. And we are proud to have more and more ISV partners that we can integrate on the QBS marketplace and serve you. And as I said early on, help you to standardize your offering and to accelerate your time to market. Most important of everything, I strongly believe that the advantage of us as QBS and you as a partner really sits in this community. I think that is what will help us to differentiate moving forward. That is what will help us to overcome the capacity and capability dilemma that we just discussed. And it will certainly help us to drive towards an even brighter future moving forward, because this community has all the ingredients. You have a diverse mix of partners in terms of industries that are being served, workloads that can be offered, backgrounds. And I would argue this is not only true for this QBS community here in the Benelux and France, but this is also true if you take a broader look and you look at QBS as a community of European partners that we have. Hopefully, anytime soon, we will get the chance to meet together in person. Certainly, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, probably the next time will be at Directions, which is still planned to happen in the fall of this year. And there, I hope to see all of you and have a chat. But please, if you have any comments, any questions, if you just want to have a chat, please reach out to me. This is my email and my mobile number. More than happy to have a chat. And with that, again, I want to thank you for all the business, the trust that you put towards QBS and the QBS team. Thanks for joining us for this QB Share. And with that, I hand it back to Bert and to Sander.